Welcome back to Listen, I Have an Idea. Today is day 3 of NaNoWriMo, and I'm technically a day behind. So tomorrow, I'm going to be uploading 2 videos, day 4 and day 5. That way, when these videos go up every day, they will be current. They will be on the day of the actual day of the month. So today, I figured I would bring to you guys a video all about planning your main character. For me, it is currently day 4 of NaNoWriMo, and at this point, you should be around 5,000 to 6,000 words, which is pretty far into your book. It's 10% of NaNoWriMo if you're doing the 50,000 word challenge. So you're already pretty far into writing your novel already, and you probably already have your main character picked out and kind of envisioned in your mind exactly what you want your main character to be. What I am bringing to you today is 10 tips to help you create a better main character. Now, I do have to preface this by saying I've never actually written a book before. I've written some short stories, and my characters are always pretty flat. But I've done a lot of research into this, and I think what I found online can actually really help you and myself create a really awesome main character. So I have 10 tips for you today, and I'm going to be sharing with you my main character from my story that I'm writing right now. So let's get started. I'm going to be bringing my notebook out again today because I have created my own character profile for my character. The first step is to choose a name for your character. There are a ton of really awesome name websites online. I personally used Nameberry because it was really easy to use, but there are a ton of really awesome ones. I will link some of the best ones that I have found down below. Naming your character is really important because you want to set the right tone for your book. My story is like a holiday theme story, and while my main character isn't necessarily an elf, I wanted to give all of the characters an elf type name. So my main character, who is a male, he's 19 years old, his name is Everett Wallace Reed. I picked the name Everett because I personally love that name, and I think it suits like an elf character perfectly. His middle name is Wallace because that's the name that I gave to his father, so obviously they passed down the name. His last name is Reed because of certain plot reasons. His last name has to start with an R just because that's the way that I planned my book. The next step is to determine some physical traits. So how tall are they? What color are their eyes? What color are their hair? What color is their skin tone? Are they large? Are they smaller? How do they walk? How do they speak? Kind of determine this in your mind. That way when you are writing, you kind of step into the shoes of the character and you're viewing the world through their eyes. The third step is to determine some general background information on your character. So, who are their parents? Do they have any siblings? Do they have a dog? Where do they live? How long have they lived there? What are they planning to do with their life? Kind of create a world around the character in just like general specifics. Step number 4 kind of goes hand in hand with number 3. It is to determine some relationships that your main character has. So for Everett, he has his relationship with his parents and with his brother and his sister, and you might also want to create some secondary characters or general outlines of secondary characters. There's a ton of other characters that I've started writing about and started kind of planning, and he has a different relationship with everyone. So if you're planning a character, you want to suss out what you're going to be putting into your narrative, how many characters you want, and what the relationship is with your main character. Step number 5 is to give your character a personality. Are they funny? Are they super sarcastic? Are they quiet? Are they shy? As you can see, Everett is a little bit of everything. He's very quiet, but he's loyal. He is smart. He's trustworthy. He's a good friend, and he has his priorities set first. Step number 6 is to determine a voice. This isn't necessarily determining how they speak, how they sound. This is their personality through their speech patterns and through their actions. I was talking a little bit about this yesterday in my NaNoWriMo How to Start a Novel video, so if you want to go check that out, definitely do. But giving your character a voice is like the backbone of their story. This is how they're going to be interacting with all the other characters and with all the settings and the conflicts that arise. By giving your character the voice, you're giving them the way that they navigate through the world. This is definitely very important for plot progression, so kind of think about this as you're writing it and as you're creating your character. The next 3 steps kind of go hand in hand. The first one is to determine where your character starts. So how they start out at the very beginning of your novel. Give the reader a clear idea of who your character is and how you want them to perceive them throughout the rest of the novel. Number 8 is figure out some of the events that are going to change your main character. What's going to happen in the middle or closer to the end of your story that's going to affect how your character interacts with the world and has to think about their own personality traits, their likes, their dislikes, and how they kind of cope with certain social situations. If you're gonna kill off one of the other main characters, like your main character's parent or a sibling, how is your character gonna react to an event such as that? That being said, this leads into step number 9, and it is where your character ends up at the end of the story. So how did everything that you put them through change them? Where do they end up, and how is the story going to end around your character? Are you going to end your novel on a cliffhanger and leave everybody hanging with a big event that happens right at the end? Or are you going to kind of provide a proper closure to the story and set everything back to normal? Finally, the last step is to figure out your main goals for your character. This doesn't necessarily have to relate to the last 3 with the obstacles that they're going to face throughout the novel, but it's an outline of where you want your character to end up in your head and in your story. At the end of my novel, I want Everett to look back on all of the events that I put him throughout the entire novel, and to be able to understand why I put him through all of that, and to be kind of okay with it, and to be moving on and moving forward at the very end. I want the end to have some kind of closure. I want there to be a very happy ending. So think about your personal goals for your character, how they're going to end up, and how you want them to interact with certain situations that you put them through in your book. So that is it for me today. These are my top 10 tips for creating your main character. If you think I left anything out, please comment down below. And of course, there are going to be links in the description bar below that will hopefully help you create the best main character possible. Happy writing, you guys, and I will see you tomorrow with 2 new NaNoWriMo videos. Bye!